Hi, so in a previous video we took one of these apart. This actually is a DVD-ROM drive, but you can get CD drives that are pretty much the same thing actually. They're all pretty much identical. They're really easy to take apart. It's just 4 screws and flip off the top and you'll see the internals. But in here are 3 motors. There's the main drive motor, which is the bit that spins the CD around, and that's the one that we used in the previous video to make a whole range of wind turbines. Then there's a spindle motor that drives the read-write head up and down, and that's got a long screw attached to it. And then right at the front here you'll see an eject motor. These are really quite tiny motors actually, but that eject motor is the bit that works a gear train to slide the tray in and out. So those 3 motors themselves are very useful. And like I say, we looked at one of them and made a whole series of wind turbines. We're now going to look at the eject drive motor. So let's have a look at the inside of this. Okay, it's dead easy to get it open. There are 4 screws holding it on. Take those 4 screws off, pull the front bezel off, and then this back case will open up just by a sharp tug, actually. In one piece, you had this front bezel on it. You'll notice there's a little hole there. When you look behind that little hole, there's a plastic, and that removes that. So if you look here, you'll see a gear train. That gear train is the bit that rises the DVD up and down and forces the carriage in and out. And it's connected actually to a little DC motor. So there's a little gear train and motor there, which are lovely. The first thing is to extract that motor. Now I've taken the gears off. It has a clip and you just pull the gears off. But I want the gear train, I want the arrangement, and I want the motor in place. So I'm just going to saw that out. Okay, there it is, and you can see what I've done. All I've done is sawing it out, just sawing around the edges, just to leave me with the drivetrain pins and the motor here. I've removed the circuit board. It was dead easy because it's just these 2 points poking into the circuit board, unsolder them and flip the board out. Then I've obviously soldered a couple of wires back on so that we can connect to it. Here are all the little bits and pieces. That's the drive belt, that's the drive wheel. The drive wheel goes on there. This one here goes on there, and this one goes on there. You just replace it the same way you took it off. To take it off, there is actually a little flip pin right there. It's a plastic projection. You push that projection in and flip the cog out, and it comes out really easily, actually. Then to put it back together, we just snap it back in place, and there's the pin. And put the drive belt back on. There you go, back together. So here it is hooked up to my voltmeter, and if I just give that a little flick, we can see it going up to about 167 millivolts. We swap that over to the amp reading. Do the same thing, and we get about 7 or 8 milliamps, which is kind of cool. Okay, so I've put one of the cogs back on, and there you can see the drive belt just there attached to the drive wheel, which is driving the motor now. Now if I give that a spin, it's much easier to get a much higher reading out of it. However, it is much stiffer to turn, and that's the thing about cogs. They give you a higher speed, but they take more turning. If I bung that on volts, and we get almost a volt out of that, that's pretty cool. So here I put the final cog on, and I've glued 2 washers on to raise everything up, because I'm going to put that on now. Remember, that's our flywheel, and we'll see what effect that has. Okay, so I put a CD onto it, and I've put a little handle on. It's just a nail I've put through the CD, and if I crank that handle, then I can get 18, 20 milliamps out of that, no trouble at all. Okay, to be honest, I just thought that was a huge amount of fun. So I made a little sort of drive train there, and it's running this tiny, tiny motor, which to be honest gives a fairly reasonable output. I mean, we're getting about 20 milliamps at about half a volt, so about 10 milliwatts. So it's not going to power your house anytime soon, but 10 milliwatts is not to be sneezed at. I mean, this was free. That makes it quite easy to drive by hand, but I'm sure you could rig up something else to drive it. I mean, you know, we're looking at things like clockwork springs maybe gravity drives, maybe another wind turbine, I don't know. But it's quite easy to drive that around and produce an acceptable output, even though that motor is absolutely tiny. I mean, that's a really small motor. Also quite a lot to learn from that, really. If you're doing this as a project, then there's obviously a lot to understand about the gearing mechanism that goes there, and that the speed here is paid for by the effort here. So there's a lot to be gained from doing something like that with that motor, not only just to produce a little bit of energy for yourself, but there's sufficient in there to charge maybe, I don't know, something very, very small, or maybe light an LED or two, something like that. But that's a nice project to do with this rather than just throw it away, so I thought I would share it with you. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you very much for watching.